Nigerian labels need to go back to the drawing board and okay, which market are we catering to? The role of a label: discover talent, groom that talent, and blow that talent. Not wait for someone to blow, then you now run it with you and start doing the bidding war. That's why people are losing their jobs, because labels don't need to actually have shops in Nigeria to get that done. Yeah, so last week we talked about the songs, artists, moments, and albums that define 2025. So today we'll talk about the lessons we learned from 2025, and I think there's a lot of takeaways. Number one would be that the big stars are not going anywhere. Yes, you heard that right. If you're thinking Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy, Olamide are about to bow out and let a new generation take over the superstardom, kid of Nigerian music industry, you have it all wrong. They are not going anywhere. The hunger they showed this year, the passion they displayed, the ambition, it's like they are here to, like, it's not a matter of they are here to stay. It's like, we're not going. Like, if you want us to leave, you are going to have to fight tooth and nail to take that place. And they are able to do this because they have talent is no question. They have the hunger, which is remarkable for people who spent 15 years in the industry. They still have that hunger. Look at Wizkid this year. He's gone on a collaborative run. He featured all the authors artists this year: Odumo the Black, Ira Star, Tyler, Fola, Marvel, Young John. If you're popping, you're going to get a verse from Wizkid. So it's ambition. It's there. It's in the conversation. Davido dropped an album, went on tour, applied himself. It was everywhere. Olamide dropped a new album. So for someone who has not been active in the whole Afrobeat to the world scene, it's catered to his stars. Fireboy first, then Ashake, helped them to scale globally. Then now it feels like he has time to actually cater to himself. And he dropped the album, he went on tour, performed in Canada, performed in London, that went viral. So big moment. Of course, Burna Boy is Burna Boy, dropped an album. The album didn't do too well, but still got the Grammy nominations thanks to his other efforts, and also went on tour. So yeah, definitely they're not going anywhere. You have to fight tooth and nail to take their place. You cannot buy the cars they buy. You don't have their level of fan base. So yeah, get used to that phase. They are going to be here for a long time. So that's like my biggest lesson this year. Another one would be that labels will need to learn to actually blow artists. Yeah, I think it's the level at which labels are blowing artists is becoming smaller and smaller. The fraction is getting more diminished. This year, Marvel blew up more or less without label support, to be honest. The man was independent, was running his own stuff. Fola, yeah, shout out to Dangbana, the affiliation and everything. But you see CZ return, it's not like it's signed to a label that like funding stuff. Definitely there are people in the background, assisting, but when last did we see one of these our big labels actually blow a star? So that's one of the things that needs to be corrected, because sooner or later, these labels, especially the international labels, they'll close shop. Yeah, they're going to just like, okay, fine, let's wrap it up, because what are we actually doing here? What are we doing in this market? At the end of the day, what the A&Rs are doing for most of these big labels is that they are looking at people after they blew up. You look at Marvel after he had Escaladizi with Wavestar, and you want to jump on that wave and you want to now sign him to a licensing deal and stuff. What you're doing is you're tying your label into a bidding war. There are like 6 of you guys. You just throwing the figures around trying to get him to come and get that licensing deal. But what should have happened is that you guys should tap the people who blow up first. Who's going to blow up next? Who has the momentum? What's the back end saying? What's the street saying? The way Mavens do it. Before Maven signed Rema, I do not know who Rema was. Probably people in Benin knew who he was. I didn't. Before they signed Arasta, I didn't know who he was. Same thing with Boy Spice, Bayani. Everyone they've signed. It's only now that they signed the new guys that people kind of like know who they are already, because you have some motions already. But that's the role of a label: discover talent, groom that talent, and blow that talent. Not wait for someone to blow, then you now run it with you and start doing the bidding war. That's why people are losing their jobs, because labels don't need to actually have shops in Nigeria to get that done. That's why these labels will sooner or later start closing shops, because they think of it from a business perspective, and they say, okay, why do we actually have to run a business and keep a whole army of staff here when we can just have 2 people who are like keeping tabs on the scene and know who's blowing up next and who can offer the licensing deal? Because it's not like we're grooming artists, it's not like we're taking them through development. So, and even the marketing, the Nigerian division or West African division of this label do for them, they will start outsourcing to agencies. They'll feel like there's no need for them to be paying office space, paying staff all year round, when it's not like you're developing talent and you're signing and blowing talent consistently. You're only offering people licensing deals. So we can have one person be doing that, and if we have to market our products from like the US or the UK artist drop and needs to be marketed in Nigeria, we just outsource an agency. So I think everyone needs to get serious. I think labels need to rediscover their job of blowing artists. And I'm going to use two labels, or let me say three labels as an example of this. Number one is Mavins, because they're like the most, let's say Mavins, Choke City, Dapper, Empire, right? Look at Mavins. Mavins cater to the center. Maven play big to win big. They don't cater to a niche, to the streets, or to hip hop. They cater to the center. They want artists whose music can go across Nigeria, and that takes a lot of money to develop that talent and to also make that project and market it. But when it works, it's crazy. They make a lot of money. They have huge superstars. Now look at Choke City. Choke City, they've consistently catered to Nigerian hip hop. That's Nigerian hip hop label for 20 years now. MI, Ice Prince, JC Jacks, now Black Bones. But they don't really, like, they've had pop stars. They've had Musa, they've had Coca, they've had CK, but they are an hip hop label. Now, like, I think the first biggest pop star they'll actually have is Young John. So it's about market share. Nigerian labels need to go back to the drawing board and, okay, which market are we catering to? Look at Dapper. Dapper caters to the streets. You're not going to expect Dapper to maybe sign a rapper like a English-speaking, squeaky clean rapper that is doing like throwing like Ice Prince, because that's not their market share. Their market share is signing people like Shea Vibes, like Charlie Poppy. They cater to the street. Specialized labels. They can blow artists consistently. Empire, it's mass market. Let's distribute for everybody. Let's get as huge chunk of the market share as we can. So we cannot just you cannot just be there just waiting for people to blow. Then you now you're not giving them licensing deal. It's not helping the industry. It's not helping you keep your job even. So I think that is one of the biggest takeaways from 2025. Also, another takeaway is that it's going to get more difficult to blow from the center. Let's look at all the artists that have blown this year. How many blew from the center? To be honest, I would say maybe 2 or 3. Now look at Fola, for example. Fola blew from the center, and I think they listen to songs like in the east and the southwest and the northwest, Abuja, Kaduna, Port Harcourt. Then possibly Chella because of TikTok, Kumi because of TikTok, but the rest, they were more of niche. They were not like you blew from, like, look at someone like Marvel, is a bit underground, catching down underground sound. Zee Vuitton, yes, they're more of niche sound, because to blow from the center is more expensive. Someone like Maven, they are new artists. They're going to spend way more money marketing their product, because you're marketing to the mass market. Everybody, you need to pay attention to everybody, as opposed to say a famous Pluto, for example, who definitely is still mass market, is still center, but it's street niche. It has a street niche on TikTok. He has the South guys that are fucking with his music, and those are the people he primarily caters to. And those ones will now help him play to the center. So it's going to be more cost effective for them. Even the guys in the east, people like Jerry, Agorobank, Ice Star, Evadu, these guys are superstars in their own right? Huge in the east, and it's a bit more cost effective for them because they're catering to that market primarily. Then it can now spill over here. So we're going to see a bit more niched, like more silos. People will run away from the center a bit more because it's going to get more expensive, and the labels too. I think they are going through that, because labels are spending 100 million trying to market an artist and it's not working, and there's one person that is making Charlie Poppy type music and is putting his content on TikTok and is blowing up, and he feels like he has more motion than you that is spending a shit ton of money. And I think the industry would adjust accordingly, and labels will also need to start catering to those market shares. Put from the southwest to the south to even the north. Once there's momentum there will need to be labels catering to that market share. Yeah. And it brings me to the subject of reinvesting in the industry. I think if there's one thing we need to learn, seeing Davido going on tour this year in Nigeria, going to Uyo, Ibadan, going to Abuja, it shows that, and Yola, it shows that there needs to be reinvestment in the industry. Same thing with Luna doing 25 states. Shows that he made some money, and he put a huge sum of that money and invested in touring Nigeria. That's local investment, as opposed to you make money abroad, the money stays abroad, it goes into real estate, it goes into going to strip club, buying fancy cars. I mean, I'm not here to like legislate on what people do with their money, because they work out for their money. You can buy whatever you want to buy. But I mean, even from a labor perspective, how many of this money is reinvested into the industry? They need to be like reinvestment in the industry. That's the only way it's going to grow. Yeah, so that's one of my major takeaways from this year. And lastly, I would say there need to be sacrifices. Yeah, if we're going to grow, I mean, we're shrinking on paper, but on the street, I think the numbers are still good. More people are streaming music, but the value is still small compared to what we need it to be. And if the value abroad is shrinking, in that we're losing consumers abroad, we're losing listeners abroad. See, Afrobeat to the world is not getting the kind of hit songs it needs to get to keep going. Because let's not get it wrong, we have not actually exported the culture significantly yet. What we have is momentum with artists and songs, from Wizkid Essence, Last, Ameno Amapiano, Siki took it to a whole new level with Love One Thing. Then Rema came and crashed the whole ceiling with Calm Down. So these songs kept giving us mileage, and like the numbers were getting bigger, and everyone could just go in through that door and just like tap into whatever audience these artists have cultivated for Afrobeat. But if Afrobeat is beginning to get like a bit of decline on the global scene, that means it has to be complemented by an increase in the local scene. But the issue now is that the increase in the local scene doesn't necessarily translate into more revenue compared to the international scene. Now, if you get 10 million streams in Nigeria, 10M in Nigeria, the money is not a lot. I don't think it's up to 10K on Spotify. If you get 1 million streams in what's that do now? One's favorite country. Is this Sweden? So when I say, before you release music, ask yourself, is this music good enough to be streamed in Sweden? Is this Switzerland? Is it good enough for Switzerland or them? Because that's where the money comes from, right? So now, like 10 million streams weighed against 1 million streams in the UK or US, it's not nothing, right? So they need to be sacrificed. And I ask myself, how do we make this sacrifice? They need to be sacrificed from the audience and from the artists. So when I talk about reinvestment, this is where the sacrifice comes in. We need to ask ourselves that, how do we make the payout more in Nigeria? There's only one way. We need to pay more to stream. Simple. The economy needs to get better. But even before then, we need to make some sacrifices. And for me, if you ask me, what's the solution? I would say, let's pick some cities, right? Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, Enugu. Let's increase here streaming costs by 1,000 naira. I'm serious. Or let's start with Lagos and Abuja and add Port Harcourt, maybe. And say, okay, people in Abuja and Lagos, for Spotify, you will pay 2.5 every month. Then other people in other cities in Nigeria will pay 1.6, So people who get streamed more in Lagos and Abuja, it's just like, it's not a lot, but it's still little something on the money you're getting. So that's the way we can actually scale the industry. And once the economy get better, we can now also charge more. Because then the sacrifices from the artists themselves, you need to come back, tour Nigeria. Like if you're going on world tour, add Nigeria to your list, do 7 states, you will not die. Yes, you're fancy, you're huge, your sound needs this huge, like a 1,000-man setup. Just try to find a Nigerian angle to it, right? Don't wait till 30 December. We cannot keep relying on one seasonal tour. Let's have off-season tour. Let people go on the road in March, in April, May, June, July. Instead, like add 7 states to it. That's how money goes around. That's how production companies, promoters will step up, right? Because that's the only way to grow the industry. Yeah, so huge lessons for us this year across both the artists, the executives, the label, and the audience as well. We've learned like really, really strong lessons, and I think it's going to be vital. If we need to grow, we need to learn from them and like how to apply these lessons come next year. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good year for Afrobeat, and the number of breakout stars we've seen this year is indicative of the good year we've seen, and hopefully next year tops this year. Yeah, so that's a wrap for this year on Facts Only. So thank you for sticking with us, and I mean, we're just coming back after taking a break, and next year we're going harder, stronger, more consistent. And please share, watch, and tell a friend to watch. And yeah, that December is in full gear. I don't know, go out there, enjoy yourself. If you're in Lagos, the traffic is crazy, drive safe, drink safe. And please, this is my only request for everyone partaking in that December. This is my only request. If you do not have a ticket for a concert, please stay in your house. Don't go and it crash anybody's concert and cause problems for the artists, the fans, and people who are there, the audience as well. The security, it's a security hazard. Look at Fola's show. That was supposed to be a big moment for him, and they messed it up because there's just too many people. The venue couldn't take them. People were fainting. There was like security hazard, and it was just really messed up. And it was supposed to be a big moment for him. Kind of like reminds us of Ashake in Brixton, where someone sadly died. But thank God no one died this time. So yeah, hopefully Fola comes back stronger, and him and the block party, they're able to come up with a bigger venue, a different date, and also it would be cool if they allow people use their current tickets to come back and see him perform again. But that said, yeah, have fun, enjoy yourself. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. I'll see you next year. That's facts only.